Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pokemon Legends Arceus. We're still exploring the Cobalt coastlands. So, we explored kind of the lower area, so we're going to be going up inside the hills this time, which is where the plot wants us to go. So, this area's a little weird until you get the swimming Pokemon, so you can actually go on the water because it's very disjointed.
Man, there's too much water in this.
Hold on, go back further than that. What the fuck is an animal?
You know what? For all the shit people give Sword and Shield, it did do one thing right, and that's that ridiculous fucking bicycle.
I mean, honestly, Scarlet and Violet did that better.
I know, but I mean like the bicycle as a concept, a transforming bicycle for no reason that just becomes like a boat. And no, not even a boat, but a bicycle with flotation wheels. It's just very Pokemon, and I love it. And I kind of like. I wish it had been in a better game.
Yeah.
Also,
dude, you're making me remember the water route in Sword and Shield, which sucks. It's like the first It's like the first route where they realize, oh, we can do branching paths in like the entire game, and then it's huge and awful.
Yeah. I'm remembering that. It's that fixed camera that makes it suck.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I wouldn't really have as much of a problem with the fixed camera and it. You know, a lot of people complained, oh, it's just a HD sun and moon.
It kind of was, yeah.
I mean, it is, but that's not inherently a bad thing. Sun and Moon had the problem of being too linear, yes, but it used its linearity to take you through interesting locations and stuff. Whereas Sword and Shield just doesn't do.
Yeah, it's kind of like comparing Final Fantasy X to Final Fantasy 13, in a way. Like,
10's a fairly linear game.
10 is a fairly linear game, yeah, but it does several things that Final Fantasy 13 doesn't. For one thing, it breaks up its linearity with towns to explore and you know, NPCs to talk to all throughout the thing, which, you know, Sword and Shield does, so that's not really relevant to this. But it also has exploration within the linear areas and things that you can do while you're there. Whereas Sword and Shield, one of the thing, like, I like Sword and Shield, for the record. I played it. I was just happy to have a console Pokemon game. But like the mines, for example, it's the kind of thing that most Pokemon games would turn into a full-fledged dungeon, but it's just kind of a twisty hallway in Sword and Shield. The only interesting thing about it is that they have the coal mine Pokemon running along the tracks, and that's fun, but it's the only fun thing about it.
There's like also no dungeons in that game, period.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the closest thing there is to one.
The closest things there are to one of those mines, and the admittedly very pretty mushroom forest by the ferry.
Oh yeah, the mushroom forest was pretty, but it's also like a screen big.
Yes, it is.
It's like as small as Viridian Forest.
It's like if every dungeon in the game were the Mithril mines from Final Fantasy VII. You know.
Yeah. Honestly, there's a lot more similarities between Sword and Shield and Final Fantasy 13 than I initially thought, because Sword and Shield also has exactly one wide open area you can explore.
Well, at least Sword and Shield gets you there sooner. In Final Fantasy 13, it's literally endgame that you finally get to it. You get all the hunts at the end of the fucking game for some reason.
Yeah, that sounds like a pacing nightmare to like be at the front step of the final.
Well, look,
dungeon.
there are two ways that you can approach the Grand Pulse open world area. You can either bum rush through it to the next plot point, or you can do all the hunts in order, because they kind of lead you on a breadcrumb trail through the place, you know? And it's just like, you know, the purpose of optional content is to spread itself out throughout a game so that you can do a little bit of it here and a little bit of it there.
Yeah, no, it just sounds like a pace killer if you want to like suddenly start exploring, and then There's just all this
But
stuff.
to be fair, though, what did that pace consist of previously before they opened it up? It's only in my eyes, it's only a pace killer because it is completely different to how it was previously. And that's if you decide to do the optional stuff.
I guess the one thing about Final Fantasy 13 that you can say about it is that regardless of what you think about the quality of the story, it moves at a fairly fast clip. So if you are engaged in it, you want to keep on seeing what's happening. And once you get to the Grand Pulse stuff, it stops and it's just lore for a good 20 hours.
It kind of is, yeah.
Which is like neat if you like lore, but it also like kills the sense of urgency that's going on at all.
Yeah. The other thing though is that almost everything that you do in Final Fantasy 13 is walking through places and fighting monsters that get in your way, right? I say almost all because you do spend maybe about 5% of your time walking down the one short path that isn't the way you're supposed to go and finding a treasure chest at the end of it, and then walking back to the main path adventure. But like the side content when you get to Grand Pulse is just more walking around and fighting. So it's like, where is my chocobo breeding? Where is my fucking Coliseum betting thing? I don't know. Where's my blitzball? Where's my card game? Where's my NPCs to talk to? Where's my literally anything other than fighting? And it just kind of like, it wears on you, man. Like, it really does wear on you. Like, Final Fantasy 13-2, the story and characters are dumber than a bag of rocks, but at least the game attached to it is good.
That just sounds like 10-2.
You know, I'm having a hard time thinking of a game that caused more damage to its series reputation than Sonic 06.
Sonic 06, yeah. Well, at least Final Fantasy 13 was a functional and polished product.
Yeah, just like folks didn't like the product. That's kind of where
but
it
there's
is.
a difference between, like buying a car and it's just like, oh, the features inside aren't that great. I'm not a fan of the material. Color's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Versus buying a car and then suddenly the steering wheel pops off and you try to brake, but the brakes only work half the time.
Oh, it's supposed to be one of those automated cars.
Yeah.
Tesla.
Or buying a car that spontaneously combusts. Wait, people do that. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I said. Anyway.
Gotta do it for the TikTok bit.
Okay, anyway. But like, okay. Final Fantasy X-2, though. I'll give Final Fantasy X-2 more credit than 13-2 on the story front, because while the game does have some really questionable story choices, also it has Brother in it, and Brother is the creepiest son of a bitch.
Yes, he is.
I don't actually find the characters on their own merits bad, and like once you...
Here's the thing. If you thought Yuna's story, her ending in 10 was just too depressing, as like, she deserves better, then 10-2 should more than make up for that, because she does finally get to
Or
be
you might
happy.
get the bad ending and it'll depress you even more.
Yeah, true enough. Yes, you do have to do some pretty hidden shit in order to get that damn ending.
Isn't that supposed to be part of what makes the ending powerful, though? Is that
It
it's
is.
not
Yeah, but that's exactly why I don't think 10-2 is necessary story-wise, because I loved how 10
Well,
ended.
the thing is, like, in 10-2, you can quote-unquote fix the depressing ending of Final Fantasy X, but they make you fucking work for it if you want to do that.
Yes, they do.
Like, if you just get the regular-ass ending, which you probably will unless you're following a guide, what you get is, just an okay continuation of Final Fantasy X story that shows you a bit of what happened after Sin disappeared and gives you a bit more context about what happened to cause Sin to appear in the first place.
Spira in a post-Yu Yevon world, and I understand that in itself has intrigue. I just didn't think it was a story that needed to be told.
Well, yeah.
I'd be more than happy if it just ended with 10.
But, like, neither is the Thrawn trilogy when you get down to it, but people fucking love that.
Yeah, I mean, if it came out like right now that the Pope was evil, I feel like a story about the world after and like the world in the church after the world finds out that the Pope is evil would be fairly interesting, you know?
One of my favorite side stories in Final Fantasy X-2 involves that other summoner Donna and her muscle-bound bodyguard, her guardian.
I know who you're talking about. The name escapes me.
Yeah, I forget his name too. But you know, they were fun side characters in Final Fantasy X. But in Final Fantasy X-2, they do this thing where the two of them sort of end up on opposite sides as far as the whole post-Yu Yevon factional conflict goes. And I think there are a couple different ways you can help resolve their differences there, if I remember correctly. It's been ages since I played the game extensively.
You know, I also one thing about it's kind of similar. It's a kind of similar question to like whether or not making Tears of the Kingdom was necessary. Because when I found out that they were making like obviously they were going to make the new Zelda game styled after Breath of the Wild, but like when I heard that it's gonna be in the same like world, I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. But having played the game, I find it very interesting going back to the same location and seeing how it's changed.
Yeah.
After that was actually one of the big appeals of Pokemon Gold and Silver was going back to Kanto and seeing how that changed.
Yeah. And like it's something that the Yakuza series does with literally every game, and it's really good there. It just depends on how much care you put into portraying that, really. And I think it can be done really, really well. Final Fantasy X-2 does it okay-ish, like in a way where you can totally tell it was a low-budget effort, but at the same time, it is kind of cool to go back to these old areas and see what's up.
Did 10-2 come out before the first Final Fantasy VII spin-off?
Yes. It was 2003 or 4, one of those years, which was just before Advent Children.
Yeah.
So they must have gone to work on that like immediately after the game finished. Then
more or less,
or different teams at the very least. The dude's name is Barthelo.
Barthelo, right?
Yeah.
Barthelo, I think, is the way it's pronounced in game. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah. Those two were cool. I like those two.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about whether or not, like, you know, Final Fantasy X did well. They made a sequel. They realized that, we could make a sequel to our other hugely successful Final Fantasy game. And then...
I think it's more like, nobody watched Spirits Within. We gotta make the money back.
Oh, you know what? That's the thing. Spirits Within is such a nothing, you know, like... nothing movie, like such a nothing entity in the space of Final Fantasy. I
believe that movie almost killed Square.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it just exists as a black hole of memory in my mind, where it's just like, oh right, that does exist. And then it's just like, this almost killed Square.
The truly hilarious thing is that they had a plan, right? They wanted to turn Aki Ross into the world's first digital actress who would appear in multiple productions, you know? So basically, they made this big whole dramatic thing about the concept of asset reuse, and that's why there's like official renders of Aki Ross in weird costumes that she never wore.
I had the bikini pinup for the longest time.
There's the bikini pinup. There's that black leather thing. And
we all have our fetishes.
Yeah, the point is they wanted to make her like the Hatsune Miku of CGI movies, you know, and it's it never happened. Like, you know,
I feel like that's just an example of them trying to make animation into live action, where that's like not the point.
Yeah, but like. What they wanted, really, was the same kind of celebrity star power appeal that you get from seeing, like, Scarlett Johansson in a movie. Except without an actual actress.
Scarlett Johansson can act?
So basically, it was AI voice actor cloning before AI voice actor cloning happened.
Man. For the record, I just love how... like the use of AI voices and AI like face technology has squicked everybody out literally the entire time ever since. Like the first thing I can remember of like an AI recreation of a face was like in Rogue One, I think it was, where they recreated
where they did this really kind of uncanny valley looking Tarkin.
Yeah, they also did Leia too at the end.
I mean, to be fair, like it's fine if they do it with the if the actor is like, you know, already deceased and they talk to the relevant parties and all of that, then fine. And if the actor is alive and they get permission, then fine. If the actor is alive but too old to look young, sure, deep fake them to look younger. But like,
I think even then, in that case, just hire somebody else that looks like them.
It's just the thing is that no actors are basically okay with this because they know that selling their likeness to be an AI means that they'll never get hired.
Well,
again.
that depends. Yeah. That depends on the contract. So the contract itself has to be something that you look into. Like don't sell your likeness. Just consent to being AI'd for this one particular thing. That's fine. I think like Mark Hamill was actually Luke Skywalker in the fake CGI young Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian. So like it was actually him underneath his fake face.
I guess my point.
Why have the fake face?
Because he's supposed to be young. It's like 2 years after Revenge of the Jedi.
No, but it's like just hire a different fucking actor at that point, dude. Because every time I get to that part in The Mandalorian, like I am distracted by how obviously CG it is.
You don't understand, look, John. It needs to be the nostalgia. It needs to be Luke because people couldn't handle a slightly different take on their character in one movie.
The CG is getting slightly better every time they do it, okay? Just bear with it for a little bit.
I don't care. Just hire a younger actor. People will not give a shit. I guarantee you people will not give a shit.
They gave plenty of shits when they did that for Han Solo.
But, and of course...
Yeah, but those opinions don't matter.
Yeah, that, but serious.